Chapter 6. Back inside, Liz helped us stow our diving gear, while the Frizz brought the engine back up to speed. Soon the sub was chugging back toward the surface. That goblin shark was really weird looking, Tim said. Do any other sharks look like that? No other shark looks exactly like a goblin shark, Mr. Hill told us, but there are many strange sharks in the sea. Take the thresher shark, for example. Its caudal fin is as long as the rest of its body. Caudal fin? Asked Wanda. What's a caudal fin? That's another name for the shark's tail, Mr. Hill explained. So the thresher shark's got a tail that's as long as its body? Carlos said. Sounds like a tall tale to me. And there's the hammerhead, Keisha said. Yes, the hammerhead is also very strange looking, Mr. Hill agreed. No, I mean there's the hammerhead, right there, Keisha shouted. She pointed to the dome of the sub-bus. A big gray shark was swimming over us. Its body looked like a normal shark's body, but its head was flat and really wide. Big knobs stuck way out on either side of the shark's head, a lot like the top of a hammer. We'd better not get too close, said Mr. Hill. The hammerhead had been known to attack when disturbed. Who knows what it might think of a magic school sub? Don't worry, we'll keep our distance, said Miss Frizzle. But the hammerhead is an amazing sight, isn't it, class? Okay, it was an amazing sight, but I think I'd rather see it on TV or something. Hey, what's that next to the hammerhead? Ralphie asked. A much smaller shark was swimming beside it. Its head was also a weird shape, but it was not nearly as big as the hammerhead's. I'll bet that's a baby hammerhead, Phoebe said. Baby sharks don't hang out with their mothers after they're born, Mr. Hill said. Actually, that shark is a small species of hammerhead called a bonnethead. Even though it's small, it's an adult shark. If that bonnethead were any smaller, the big hammerhead would probably be snacking on it, Miss Frizzle told us. Really? Carlos asked. I guess the ocean's just a shark-eat-shark world, huh? Well, it depends, added Miss Frizzle. Most shark species are pretty picky about what they eat. Only certain species like hammerheads, great whites, and tiger sharks will eat other sharks. The sub moved along and climbed closer to the surface. Look, dolphins, Wanda cried. A pod of dolphins was swimming near us. We watched them through the dome. They took turns leaping out of the water and diving back in. It looked like they were having fun. That's awesome, Carlos said, but I felt butterflies in my stomach. What about that hammerhead? I asked. I can still see it over there. What if it swims over here and gets the dolphins? And maybe gets us for dessert? Relax, Arnold, Tim said. I don't think the hammerhead even knows the dolphins are here. D.A. spoke up. According to my research. That can't be true, she said. Sharks have incredibly keen senses. D.A.'s right, Mr. Hill said. I'm sure the hammerhead is aware of the dolphins, but it may be afraid to take them on. Afraid? Asked Ralphie. Why would a shark be afraid of dolphins? You'd be surprised, Ralphie, the Frizz answered. Dolphins have been known to gang up on a shark and hurt it, or even kill it. The sub cruised forward. Things looked good for a second. All I needed was a topic for my report, and we could get back to land. But all of a sudden, we were surrounded by sharks. It was a whole school of dark blue sharks, almost exactly alike. Throw her into idle, Liz, Miss Frizz called, or shouted. Stop? Asked Wanda. Don't you mean get us out of here? It's too late for us to turn away, the Frizz exclaimed. We're already in the middle of their turf. That means the best thing to do is be good guests, Mr. Hill said. We need to stay still and let them check us out. Chances are they'll just swim away, Miss Frizz told us. I didn't want to know what would happen if they didn't. In the meantime, get a close look, Miss Frizzle told us. These blue sharks are unusual because they swim in schools like this. Also, their population is shrinking, Mr. Hill added. Someday there might not be any more blue sharks to see. I'm not so happy about these blue sharks, said Phoebe. but it would be really sad if the whole species disappeared. A few of the blue sharks swam right up to the sub. I held my breath, but the sharks only looked at us. Then, as Miss Frizzle had predicted, they all swam away. "Okay, class," Miss Frizzle said. "We're out of here." Boy, I was glad to hear those words. I crossed my fingers and hoped that we were going home. But then I heard the bad news. We were headed home just as soon as everyone picks a topic for their report, the Frizz said, "and I think this tiger shark will give you lots of ideas." Then everything happened fast. The Frizz reached for the control panel. Suddenly, I felt myself getting smaller and smaller. The sub bus was shrinking, and so was everyone inside it. In seconds, the whole sub was no bigger than a small fish. As I looked out the front window, I saw a striped shark right in front of us. Its mouth was open wide. "Hang on, class, we're going in," Miss Frizzle shouted. Whoa, did the Frizz mean we're actually going inside the shark? This wasn't a field trip, it was a nightmare.